This is always fun. Will Palaszczuk, always one of my favorites at Willie P Style. And normally we talk Panthers, and that might come up. Or we talk Hornets. Not bad. That might come up. But we are going to start right behind me. Look at this. Charlotte FC. Playoff start tonight. I'm a huge, huge fan of football, European football, feet soccer, as we call it in this country, because it's what we do. Incredible year. Incredible run during the middle of the latter part of the season. A run that came to an end against tonight's opponent, NYCFC, with a 2-0 loss up there. And the best of three playoff series starts tonight at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. I'm going to be otherwise occupied with a hockey game, but one eye on the scoreboard. Willie P Style, talk to me. And that actually sounds somewhat prophetic, since Idan Toklamati has been absolutely on fire the second half of the season. What do you know? Tell me.
It's good to be with you, Adam. It is kind of the fact that very much a storybook thing, because New York City ended the 9-game winning streak. They also began the 9-game winning streak for Charlotte FC from that perspective. So that 2-0 victory they had at home came after a 2-2 draw against Orlando that definitely represented a seat change in Charlotte FC season and a return to a lot of the things that made them very, very good last year. Incredible defensive solidarity, a couple of touches of class down the road. Obviously, Wilfred Zaha was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he will not be a part of the game tonight. And obviously, that becomes a very, very big subplot. There's a lot on the shoulders of Liel Abada, who is another DP-level player who comes in to play for him, who had fallen out of favor in the lineup. But the thing I think that's very interesting about this one is that both these teams are very much mirror images of each other. They both love to be defensively solid. They both use their home field advantage to their incredible advantage. Charlotte, obviously, with their thunderous atmosphere, and New York with their propensity to play in baseball stadiums. The fact of the matter is, I think this game is the very big swing game of this series, because it obviously makes game 2 a must-win for the opponent who ends up losing it. And if Charlotte can't get a result tonight, it makes things incredibly difficult, as they've not won in a baseball stadium before. Whereas if they win tonight, they can use that momentum potentially to end this series later on this week and not have to come back to Bank of America Stadium next week.
So it's like, is there a significance to the baseball stadium thing other than the configuration, and we can't, you can't get all the seats close to the field? I've seen football games played at Yankee Stadium. Look, I was a kid. I grew up going to Shea Stadium, and the lower bowl was actually on wheels, and they moved it. So it was actually I thought an underrated football stadium. But is there something significant to a baseball stadium?
It's significant in that the pitch dimensions are incredibly constrained.
Oh, okay.
It's about 17 yards more narrow than Charlotte FC's pitch, and about 22 yards shorter, which again barely meets the minimum requirements for what FIFA brings to the table. FIFA doesn't have a standard pitch size. They basically got a minimum and a maximum length and width, and it barely fits the medium. And it's part of the reason why they're going to have their new building next to Citi Field beginning in 2027, because I think while the novelty of Yankee Stadium, I think, was cool for them at the beginning, I think many managers, broadcasters, players, etc., have kind of said, hey, this is a little ridiculous. It definitely affects what Charlotte FC does when you get around a game 2, because they're a team that loves to stretch out the wide areas. They love to play long and direct. The long balls that come from the back are much harder to get down.
Bye.
So,
there he is. We lost you for a second, but here's my question. Just to jump in here, because I'm listening to this and I'm going, wait a second. How can we play a playoff game on in what purports to be a major soccer league, right? The top 10 league in the world, on a pitch that is 17 yards more narrow? That is not insignificant. 17 yards is a lot. How is that even allowable?
Shorter. It's weird, Adam. I wish I had an answer. It's something that both my partner Anna Whitty and I have talked about in terms of the subplot of this game. It's definitely going to be something that is an adjustment. You know, I saw Dean Smith before the game. We played up there, kind of walking the pitch out just to kind of make sure he got the paces right. Basically, the way you say it, it's 2 steps you're in the attacking third, basically. So it's almost kind of like playing a half court basketball game in a way. So it is definitely an adjustment. There are teams that have gone up there and won. It's not completely insurmountable. Seattle went up there and won on decision day. But that makes this first game, I think, all the more important because Charlotte FC needs to hold serve.
It's not 17 yards more narrow, 17 yards shorter. Look, maybe the goalkeeper can score.
Who knows?
Right, just go top bins on him. Will Palaszczuk is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What was the turnaround? Where do you go? Where did they go from struggling to all of a sudden getting on that long winning streak? Because I know it didn't come too long. It might have coincided with Patrick Ajamang's sale to Derby County of the championship, but. And maybe the emergence in terms of continuity of Zaha. Where did it turn around?
Well, Dean Smith points to halftime against Chicago in the end of a stretch of games that was 10 out of 12 away from home in all competitions. 8 out of 10 in MLS play, 10 out of 12 if you count 2 U.S. Open Cup ties that took place away from home. It was a game against Chicago. They trailed 3-0 at halftime, and he basically came to the guys and said, look, we're not losing the second half. We're going to win the second half, and then we're going to go back home and turn this thing around. And darn it if they didn't go on a 10-game unbeaten streak right after that.
Right.
They ended up drawing against Orlando, as I mentioned, and then winning 9 in a row. And it's not like they beat slouches during that. I mean, they beat a bunch of playoff teams. They beat a Cincinnati team that's up ahead of them in the table. They beat this New York team, and there are other teams that kind of came across their purview that very much gave them fits, but they were able to beat. They beat Real Salt Lake as well. So it is a situation where I know a lot of people will look at this and say, how strong are they if they've had such highs and such lows? But the thing that's a difference in this level of soccer when you get to the playoffs is, can you defend? Do you have match winners on your side? And Charlotte FC can say unequivocally they do.
Oh, there is no doubt. All right, now, red card suspension for Zaha, as you mentioned, not going to be involved in this match. There is leadership, though, and who does he kind of shift that to? Who wears the arm? I'm not sure if it matters who wears an armband here, but who now takes charge, especially of their attack? He has been so good and so involved in everything.
Well, they got leaders basically all over the field right now. Of course, you think about Brant Bronico, who's been with the team since its inception. You've got Ashley Westwood, who's got Premier League bona fides in his own right. Same thing to go for Tim Ream. Yep. The thing about this is, Adam, 9 of the 11 projected starters, even if you include Abada in the starting lineup, as we assume he'll be there, 9 of the 11 starters will have MLS playoff experience from a year ago or even 2 years ago when Charlotte FC was in the play-in game with their previous regime. So it's not like they've not had experience being here. And the two who haven't, Harry Toffolo has got Premier League bona fides in his own right, and Idan Toklamadi is playing about as well as any striker has played for Charlotte FC, not named Patrick Adjaman. And even you could say that there's parts of his game that Patrick doesn't have in his locker. So it does represent, I think, obviously, from an offensive standpoint, you have to shift where your focus is. It becomes a lot more balanced. You don't just, give it to Zaha and let him work and let him try to create and draw defenders. They do have to play maybe a little bit more direct. Maybe you have to do a little bit more in the midfield and get it more done on the right wing with Karen Vargas. It'd be a lot more balanced attack for Charlotte FC. But they've got creators, and they've got guys who can play very, very well. And I mentioned Harry Toffolo.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody that really widens and opens their attack because he's a fullback that loves to get high. And one of the things that was very characteristic of Dean Smith's teams at Aston Villa is he had high pressing, dangerous, great crossing fullbacks. He's got 2 now in Harry Toffolo and Nathan Byrne. They will pinch the wingers in. They will offer another semblance of attack. And I think it will also help Charlotte FC get themselves over the line here tonight.
It would certainly help. It gives you the free kick, free shot when you go up to the house that Aaron Judge built, and then hopefully you don't have to come back here. and cruise through it. Will Palaszczuk at Willie P Style on Twitter. I like the Crown tonight. Plus 180, by the way, if people are scoring at home. So I know you just mentioned that maybe more direct and not let you don't have that creator in Zaha. Do you foresee lower scoring here? Is this more of a 1-0 type of a game?
I think it's screaming 1-0 at me,
Okay.
Adam, just based on the fact that I think both teams are going to try to be defensively solid. I think New York might try to sit low and try to play the counterattack a little bit. And I think Charlotte FC is very dangerous on their own counterattack as well. New York's also been dealing with a little bit of a flu bug over the course of the last week, and
That's
some
a
guys
shame.
are still kind of reeling from that. We won't feel sorry for them about that. But from the standpoint of where it sits, I do think it could be a situation where, cold, kind of, misty, rainy type match might not be one that's easy to get up for them being on the road. And I also think, too, it's a situation where the home team has always kind of had the advantage in this series. Charlotte's 4-0 all-time at home against New York, and the only victory Charlotte FC has against New York in this series just happened to be across the pond in Harrison, New Jersey, when both baseball stadiums were being used, and they had to play in their rivals' home building, New York Red Bulls. And Charlotte beat New York Red Bulls on the road in 2022 in the first season in a game that featured a goal from Brandt Bronico and a penalty spot goal from Christian Fuchs, if you can believe it, way back.
Wow, that is a blast from the past and a long time ago. All right, before
still on their staff, by the way, as an assistant.
Oh, very cool. Before I let you go, Will Palaszczuk at Willie P Style on Twitter. What's the fallout? Is there fallout from the loss to Buffalo? Can anybody figure out why Rico Dowdle hasn't been the feature? And I've been talking about this for like 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than Dave Canales going, Chuba, you're going to get so many carries between now and the end of the year. We got 10 games left. Now it's 9. But Rico's too hot. We got to just flip this a little bit. Let him go first. You're going to get plenty of touches. I'm baffled at what I saw the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think we got deluded into thinking, Adam, that both these running backs have similarities in that they get stronger as the game goes on. And I think Chuba is suffering from the fact that he's suffering from as much of the constant switching as the run game as a whole and as Rico Dowdle is. The problem with it is that Rico can be good right from the start, because the thing that he does that Chuba doesn't do is that he sees the hole, he hits the hole right away.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of probing. There's no Le'Veon Bell hesitation station going on there with him like it is with Chuba Hubbard. So from that perspective, it's very much a situation where you look at Rico and say, he's got to be the tone setter. And I think based on the way Dave sounded yesterday, he made it sound like, I don't want to say he got the message, but I think the message has been shouted to him by more than a couple of people and said, hey, by the way, when you got one dude who's getting 6.8 yards per carry and another dude who's getting 2.8 yards per carry, why is a dude getting 2 yards per carry getting more of the touches? I think it's gotten to a point where I think giving him a little bit of grace here, he wants to get Chuba Hubbard going because he feels like their offense is best suited when they're both going well. But I think at this point, you have to think about the team over the individual here. I would fully expect against the Green Bay Packers to see more of a focal point centered around Rico Dowdle. A lot of that, of course, is dependent on who the quarterback is. But I also think, too, that after 2 weeks, maybe he's trying to chalk it up to maybe being a small sample size to Rico, but we have enough of a sample now with the fact that Rico is the hot hand and he should be getting more of the carries.
To me, it's an easy one. Will Palaszczuk at Willie P Style, my man. Have fun tonight. I know you and Anna will, and we will talk to you very, very soon.
Still waiting for Adam Gold playoff tickets coming his way. If you don't have a Hurricane game that ends up conflicting with one, we got to get you up to Uptown Charlotte for a home playoff.
Definitely want to do it. I told you this before. We watched, I think it was the Miami match in the car on the way back from wherever the heck we were about a month ago. And he was like, man, this is fun. I'm like, so we are absolutely going to do it, Willie. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.